Hi everybody, welcome back to Glowing Card Gaming. So this video I want to talk about the release of kicker Brandon McManus. So one of the things I talked about in a previous video was for the Broncos. Um, what off-season moves and trades are they doing? And at the time, really all we had to talk about was, you know, stadium. What are they doing? You know, in looking at the transactions, it's like, well, what are they doing? I mean, there isn't any major trades or I don't know. I don't know what they are doing. Though with the draft, they seem to sign some people and you know make some moves and trades and stuff like that. Um, but today they released kicker Brandon McManus, and it's the first time they made a move that really affected a known player. It's somebody you know the name of when you hear Brandon McManus. Oh yeah, that's a kicker for Denver, you know. And they also signed defensive tackle Tyler Lancaster today. I don't know anything about him. Maybe that's a good move or not. I don't think that was a trade. I think they simply released Brandon McManus. Now, what I was getting ready to say, and this was my fear, is that with the new ownership, we could get something that the Rockies have had, where they trade somebody or they just release somebody for the cash, and releasing Brandon McManus. Well, there is something else at play here in the NFL. That's the salary cap. So it could be that they released him because of the salary cap, which, good on them if that's really what they're doing. Brandon didn't kick quite as well last season as he had in the past. So he's probably trending down in his career, And I think if the Broncos could have gotten anything for him, they would have. That's the feeling I get since they just released him instead of trading him. And my feeling would have been much different had they traded him for basically cash, which is what I thought might happen. Because then you end up in a situation just like the Rockies. You trade name players for cash. You don't really care about the team. The one thing that does, and it still worries me, is that the ownership will start to do those types of moves and kind of sink the team a little bit and get the fan base kind of ticked off and less and less interested in the Broncos, and then they'll have enough reason to move the team somewhere else. And there are teams where I honestly can't believe that the owners have moved the teams. The Rams out of St. Louis. I understand they were in LA before, and they just went back there after 20-something years in St. Louis. Um, I don't know. I don't think LA really cares as much about football. They've had several teams there, and they can't seem to hold on to those teams. So there have been teams that have been in their cities for so long. Giants, Bears, Broncos, Saints. They're teams so ingrained that I hope they never move. I hope they never move. Um, that being said, again, I'm a little worried with the new ownership that is a possibility. I hope not. Um, I guess we'll see as time goes on. You know, now to be fair, building a new stadium does tell me they're planning on staying. You don't build a new stadium if you're planning on moving the team. You just don't do that. So logically, that would make sense to calm some of my fears about that happening. Hopefully, they will dome it. I talked about that in a previous video. I think they should have domed this mile high when they built it. I think that was a mistake. I talked about how Oakland, when they were in Oakland, or maybe that was back in the 90s when they were the LA Raiders. See, LA can't hold on to the team. You know, they'd come in and they'd kick the crap out of us in a snowy Sunday, in a really snow, like feet of snow were burying the field, and they came in and beat us, and they whooped us. It wasn't even close. So, just wanted to talk a little bit about them releasing Brandon McManus. Currently, they don't have a kicker, so it'll be interesting to see who they sign. Though, you know, as long as he kicks fairly well, it doesn't really matter who they sign. Kickers are kickers. You know, I think if anybody's played fantasy football, I mean, that kind of tells you all you need to know about a kicker or defense. You draft them last because they're just, unless you get top tier, the number one kicker of the league, it really doesn't matter as long as you know, can scrape up enough points to win games every week. You know, I'd like to see more moves, and just looking at the amount of moves that the Broncos have made. Um, you know, they re-signed Jerry Jeudy, re-signed Kareem Jackson. You know, they seem to have a good handle, in my opinion, on some sort of plan on what they want to do with the team. And the new head coach, well, not my top pick, he is a NFL coach. He's going to get the job done, and I hope he does it so well that the Broncos return to their Super Bowl winning ways, and we can take that title back from Kansas City. You know, I'd love it if that was the last Super Bowl that Kansas City won. While we have Russell Wilson, and I hope Russell Wilson gets 3 or 4 Super Bowls here in Denver. I'd love to see it. I know 4 other teams that wouldn't, but I mean the Chargers moved to LA, so who cares? And the Raiders moved to Vegas, so who cares? You know, there's no. It's kind of like, you know, you marinate a team in a city, right? You build that rivalry up, and it means something. You know, back when Lyle Alzado was playing, and he was playing for Denver, and then I think we traded him for a season somewhere else, and then he went to Oakland, and boy, was there a rivalry after that. That's what I'm talking about. Oakland Raiders. Seasoned. Marinated in that. You know, it's like they moved the Red Wings out of the Avalanche division. Now, there's somewhat of a rivalry, maybe with Minnesota. I don't know. There's an ESPN film I really want to watch, and it's about the Red Wings and Avalanche rivalry. And boy, even to this day, they just hate each other. Beat them. Beat them. That's all they care about. You got to beat them. They could have the worst season, but as long as they beat Detroit, it's a great season. You know, and those passions and those rivalries that ignite passions within the fan base, those are not bad for the league. I know how much they fought and how much hate there still is between certain teams and rivalries. When you move a team out of a city where there's a rivalry like that, it's not good for the league. It really isn't. Um, if if the Raiders move back to Oakland, they would get that seasoning and that marination back. The longer they stay in LA, or not LA, well LA too, LA or Las Vegas, it just doesn't seem to be there. I don't know. It's not the same. The same thing with the Chargers moving out of San Diego. It's just eh, eh. So it's Denver and the Tribe, um, Kansas City Chiefs. They're the rivals now in the AFC West. That's it. There isn't any other rivalry. Why are you doing that? It's the ownership. It's stupid. And the NFL should kind of step in every so often and say, "Nah, you can't move them. You can sell them if you don't want them. If you don't want to be the owner in the team that you're in, but you can't move them." I just really don't believe in that. Could you imagine if the Bears um, moved and they were like the the South Dakota Bears, or they moved to Miami? They were now the Miami Bears. The Dolphins moved, to Minnesota or somewhere else. It just doesn't seem. It's not the same. It's not the same. You know? Oh my gosh! Sorry, breaking news here. The Broncos signed uh, quarterback Ben DiNucci. I've been watching this guy, his podcast or podcast, or his YouTube channel about the XFL and Ben DiNucci, and I hate the way he says Ben DiNucci. He really loves Ben DiNucci, like they're lovers or something. It's so odd watching him roll the R or the and whatever he does for DiNucci. Oh, I still liked his coverage of the XFL, so I watched basically the whole season of it. I just didn't like that one part. And then he's also a Broncos fan, um, which I'm glad for. You know, I just find him a little annoying here and there, but you know, yeah, he's been all over Ben DiNucci, and to be fair, Ben DiNucci did very well in the XFL. Um, I just can't see Ben DiNucci beating out Russell. I hope he does not beat out Russell Wilson and become the leading quarterback for the Broncos. I mean, we gave up so much to get Russell Wilson. I feel like the Boland family, um, in kind of an infantile tirade about losing the team, which I think there could have been a better solution than uh, the NFL stepping in and then just taking the team away for market value. They paid, somebody else bought the team. They forced them to sell. Um, so it wasn't like the Bolin family didn't get anything out of that, but there should have been better arbitration, and there should have been a decision made by someone about which Boland was going to own and make the decisions about the Broncos. And that's how it should have been handled. But it is what it is now. We got to live with it as Bronco fans. Have they made good decisions? I mean, time will tell. Time will tell. I can't believe we signed Ben DiNucci. I bet that guy's going nuts. I should go watch it. Tomorrow I'm going to watch his podcast or his YouTube channel, especially on the May 16th one. I may share a link of that on my next video. It's getting pretty late here. This is the third video I shot tonight. I'm going to post it on Thursday night for everybody. So I hope you guys enjoy all three of these videos. And, you know, I've pretty much kind of explained everything I wanted to. You know, I might have another Broncos one as we get closer to training camp, or maybe even in training camp, because I mean we're at kind of at the end of May, so we have June and July, and then we're in training camp. So I mean I can take a little break from the Broncos. I really want to see what other moves they make, and I kind of want to hold my judgment until we have a clear picture of what's going to be the fallout from all of these trades, because it looks like they've actually made quite a few moves, a lot of them. So I don't know if it's going to be good for the Broncos, and I say that only because you know what happened last year. I knew, and I probably should have been harder on my estimate on the wins and losses. So I thought they would be kind of around 500, maybe a little less than that, like 7 and 10 is what I was thinking. Not 4 and 13. But you know, going off of what I know now, I mean, you had a brand new quarterback, you had brand new ownership, you had a brand new coach. You basically had a brand new franchise last year. Yes, there were some of the team that was left, and probably a lot of the coaching staff and a lot of that. But it really felt like the Broncos ownership kind of gutted that team as they were going out the door, and the new owners came in. Now the new owners have been really making some moves. Sean Payton from the Saints as the coach. Again, not my first choice, but he's making some moves. He's really starting to build the team. Now, my feeling again for this year, while we don't have brand new ownership, we have second year ownership. Not the best, not the greatest. You know, 10-year owner, 15-year owner. Okay, a little seasoning there. Can start to gel, especially when you know they're winning. They're not going to move the team. Everything's going great. You kind of get that rapport with the fandom. So there is that part of it. Excuse me. But also, I totally blanked on what I was going to say. I think that overall, you know, this is going to be Russell Wilson's second year. The problem is, I think there isn't going to be much left of the team that was there last year. So instead of having a brand new quarterback trying to adjust to a new team, you now have a second year quarterback adjusting to a brand new team that is now coming in and being traded and moved around. You also have another new head coach, Sean Payton. First year coach, a lot of first year team going on. Second year owners, second year quarterback. Doesn't seem much better than last year, right? Though I think the win total will be somewhat better. This, I think, will be more accurate. 6 to 7 wins this year. Let's go for broke. We'll say 7 wins. What I thought they might do last year, they'll do this year. All right, I need to go get a drink of water and start heading towards bed. I have work tomorrow. Once again, everybody, thanks for watching my channel, Glowing Card Gaming. And as always, be good to each other. Thanks.